As we get older, something subtle begins to happen inside the body, something most people never notice until a symptom whispers a little louder than before. A bit more fatigue after breakfast, a wave of dizziness that seems to come out of nowhere, a medication that suddenly feels less predictable. And often the last thing anyone suspects is fruit. I'm Dr. Samuel Hartley. For more than 25 years, I've worked with older adults in clinics, research centers, and family health programs. And one of the patterns I see again and again is this. The way your body handles food, especially fruit, changes dramatically after 60 kidneys filter differently. Blood sugar rises more sharply. Certain medications react in ways they never did before. And what surprises many seniors is that the foods causing trouble aren't processed snacks or fast food. They're fruits that were perfectly harmless for decades, until the body shifted with age. One of the 7 fruits we'll talk about today has been linked to sudden heart rhythm changes in older adults. Another one can quietly overload aging kidneys, even when eaten in small amounts. And a third interferes with more than 50 common medications, without any warning signs at all. Yet for each one, there are safer, delicious alternatives that may support your energy, digestion, and independence. If you've ever felt confused about why certain foods suddenly don't sit right anymore, you're not alone. What we'll cover today isn't about fear, it's about clarity. Clarity that helps you stay strong, steady on your feet, and confident in every choice you make. And before we step into the first fruit, the one that has sent seniors to the ER without realizing the cause, remember this: small adjustments can lift years of strain off the heart, kidneys, and blood sugar system. Let's begin with the fruit that surprises almost everyone. Before we walk through the 7 fruits themselves, I want to give you a simple picture of what changes inside the body after 60, because once you see it, the rest of this list suddenly makes perfect sense. Think of your kidneys, liver, and digestive system like the filters and wiring of a home that has served you faithfully for decades, still reliable, still strong, but a little more sensitive to overload, a little slower to clear out what doesn't belong, and far more reactive to sudden spikes in sugar, acid, or potassium. Research published in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases shows that kidney filtration drops by roughly 8 to 10% every decade after age 50. That means a fruit your kidneys handled easily at 40 can build up in the bloodstream at 70, sometimes turning a simple snack into dizziness, confusion, or changes in heart rhythm. This is why potassium-heavy or toxin-containing fruits can become risky without a single warning sign. Blood sugar responses shift too. A review from the American Diabetes Association found that seniors experience up to 35% higher glucose spikes from fast-digesting fruits. It's not the fruit itself, it's that insulin becomes less efficient with age and the pancreas simply doesn't respond as quickly as it once did. What used to be a sweet treat can now feel like an energy crash or cloudy-headed fog an hour later. Acidic fruits affect the body differently as well. The valve that keeps stomach acid where it belongs weakens with age, which is why citrus suddenly becomes a nighttime troublemaker. In fact, a 2022 gastroenterology clinic study found citrus triggers reflux in 63% of adults over 60. And finally, medications. The older we get, the more medications rely on predictable digestion and stable nutrient levels. Fruits rich in vitamin K, strong enzymes, or high acidity can quietly interfere with more than 50 common prescriptions. What's coming next is where these mechanisms collide with specific fruits, starting with a tropical fruit that can overwhelm aging kidneys faster than most people realize. Fruit number 1, starfruit. The first fruit on our list is one that looks harmless, even beautiful. Yet, it's responsible for some of the most dramatic reactions I've seen in older adult starfruit. Most people don't know this, but starfruit contains a compound called caramboxin. In a younger, healthy kidney, this toxin is filtered out efficiently, but as kidney filtration naturally declines, something that happens silently in nearly 40% of adults over 65, caramboxin can begin to build up in the bloodstream. And when that happens, the effects are almost always neurological. Confusion, sudden dizziness, memory lapses, even tremors. Research published in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases documented cases where seniors with only mild kidney impairment experienced seizures and severe confusion after consuming Starfruit. It doesn't take much. In some cases, a single fruit was enough to overwhelm weakened filtration. I remember a patient named John, a 72-year-old from Florida, who added Starfruit to his morning smoothies because he loved tropical flavors. Within days, he began noticing tiny slips, forgetting where he set his keys, needing a moment longer to stand steady after bending down. At first, he brushed it off as aging, but as the week went on, the symptoms deepened. One morning, he collapsed briefly while reaching for a glass of water. When his family brought him in, blood tests revealed the issue: caramboxin buildup on top of a kidney that was filtering at only 60% of what it did decades earlier. What most seniors miss is that kidney decline doesn't announce itself. It creeps. And Starfruit takes advantage of that quiet decline. The good news? You can enjoy similar crisp, refreshing textures without the risks Asian pears offer the same juicy bite. Dragon fruit gives you that tropical feel without burdening the kidneys. Both are kidney safe and gentle on the nervous system. Before we move on, hold this thought. If a single fruit can trigger neurological symptoms so quickly, what might a fast sugar fruit do to blood sugar and energy? That's exactly where we're heading next. Fruit number 2, grapes. Grapes are one of those foods that feel innocent, soft, sweet, easy to snack on. But for many older adults, they quietly create two problems at the same time: unstable blood sugar and increased choking risk. And very few seniors ever connect those issues back to this tiny fruit. Let's start with the blood sugar effect. Grapes are what I call a fast fruit. They're high in natural fructose, low in fiber density, and digested almost instantly. According to a clinical review from the American Diabetes Association, seniors experience significantly sharper glucose spikes from fruits like grapes compared to younger adults, sometimes up to 30 to 35% higher. The pancreas simply doesn't respond as quickly after 60, and insulin becomes less efficient. That's why grapes often create a pattern many seniors recognize but rarely understand: a burst of energy, followed by fatigue, dizziness, irritability, and a surprising drop in concentration. It's not aging, it's a sugar wave, followed by a sugar crash. I worked with a woman named Patricia, 68, who swapped her afternoon cookies for what she thought was a healthier choice: a big bowl of grapes. Within 2 weeks, she noticed her mood dipping in the afternoons, her vision blurring, and her energy dropping off a cliff before dinner. When we checked her glucose patterns, the cause was obvious: sharp spikes followed by steep crashes. Simply replacing grapes with blueberries stabilized her numbers within days. The second problem with grapes is one we don't talk about nearly enough: choking risk. As swallowing reflexes slow with age, smooth, round foods become more dangerous. The National Safety Council reports a noticeable rise in grape-related choking incidents among adults over 65, not because seniors are careless, but because reflex timing changes naturally over time. The safer choices, blueberries, raspberries, or melon cubes, all lower in sugar, far easier to chew, and far gentler on blood sugar. And if a small fruit can swing your glucose so sharply, imagine what happens when acidity enters the picture. The next fruit affects digestion, sleep, and more than 50 common medications. Fruit number 3, oranges. Oranges have a wonderful reputation: bright, refreshing, loaded with vitamin C. For decades, they've been a symbol of good nutrition. But after 60, This familiar fruit can quietly create a chain reaction inside the body that many seniors don't see coming. Nighttime reflux, medication interference, and dental sensitivity that worsens year by year. Let's start with reflux because it's far more common than most people realize. The valve that keeps stomach acid from rising, the lower esophageal sphincter, naturally weakens with age. That means acidic foods don't stay where they're supposed to. In a 2022 gastroenterology clinic study, citrus fruits triggered reflux in 63% of adults over 60. For many of my older patients, oranges are the silent culprit behind midnight burning, coughing, throat irritation, and restless sleep. One of them, Margaret, a 73-year-old from Minnesota, drank a glass of fresh orange juice every morning, believing she was strengthening her immune system. What she didn't realize was that the acidity lingered long after breakfast. By bedtime, the weakened valve gave way, and acid crept upward. She woke night after night with a fiery sensation in her chest. When she paused citrus for a week, her sleep improved almost immediately. But acidity is only half the story. Oranges can interfere with over 50 common medications, including blood pressure pills, cholesterol medications, thyroid treatments, and antidepressants. The issue isn't the fruit itself, but the way acidic pH and certain compounds affect drug absorption. For seniors relying on steady medication levels, even small shifts can matter. And then there's enamel. As enamel thins with age, repeated exposure to acidic fruit can make teeth more sensitive, more fragile, and slower to recover after meals. The alternatives? Red bell peppers actually contain more vitamin C than oranges. With almost none of the acidity, kiwi delivers powerful antioxidant support without the reflux triggering effect. Now, if acidity can change how your medications behave, imagine what happens when a fruit is both rich in calories and able to alter how blood thinners work. That's where we're heading next. Fruit number 4, avocados. Avocados have become a modern health symbol, creamy, smooth, rich in healthy fats, and they are nutritious. But for many older adults, especially those on blood thinners or heart medications, avocados can create a surprising cascade of problems: unwanted weight gain, altered medication levels, and potassium overload that aging kidneys struggle to handle. Let's start with something most seniors never consider: caloric density. One medium avocado contains roughly 240 calories, more than some full meals. After 60, metabolism naturally slows, and muscle mass declines unless it's actively maintained. That means the body simply doesn't burn extra calories as quickly. Over time, this leads to gradual weight gain that stresses the knees, hips, and lower back. I saw this unfold with Robert, a 75-year-old from Denver. He switched to avocado toast every morning, thinking it was the healthy thing to do. 3 months later, he had gained 12 pounds. Not from overeating, but from consistent high-calorie intake. Those extra pounds made his knee arthritis flare, slowed his walking speed, and reduced the stamina he once had for gardening. When he cut his serving down to a quarter avocado and added more protein, his energy improved and his inflammation eased. The second concern is more serious: vitamin K. Avocados contain enough vitamin K to interfere with blood thinners like warfarin. Research from the Journal of Thrombosis and Hemostasis shows that inconsistent vitamin K intake can shift INR levels significantly, making medications less predictable. For seniors relying on stable blood thinning, this isn't a mild inconvenience, it's a safety issue. And then there's potassium. As kidney filtration declines with age, high potassium foods can accumulate in the bloodstream, raising the risk of irregular heartbeats or muscle weakness. Avocados are among the most potassium-dense fruits. If you enjoy the creamy texture, there are safer swaps. A drizzle of olive oil or small servings of walnuts and almonds provide healthy fats without disrupting medications or potassium balance. And if you do include avocado, keep it to 1/4 per day, paired with protein to slow its absorption. And if a fruit this healthy can create such hidden strain, imagine what happens when a fruit overloads both water and sugar at the same time. Let's look at the one summer favorite that often surprises seniors the most. Fruit number 5, watermelon. Watermelon is a summertime classic, hydrating, refreshing, and comforting in its simplicity. But when you look at how the aging body handles water, sugar, and potassium, watermelon can quietly create a perfect storm for seniors. Fluid retention, blood sugar spikes, and stress on the heart and kidneys that often goes unnoticed until symptoms become hard to ignore. Although watermelon is more than 90% water, it carries a surprisingly high glycemic load. That means the natural sugars absorb quickly, hitting the bloodstream almost as fast as processed sweets. In fact, 2 cups of watermelon can spike blood sugar nearly as sharply as a can of soda. For seniors with insulin resistance, or those who simply metabolize sugars more slowly with age, this spike is often followed by a steep energy crash, brain fog, or sudden fatigue. I saw this firsthand with Betty, a 78-year-old from Arizona who ate watermelon daily to stay hydrated in the heat. Within a week, she noticed swelling in her ankles, shortness of breath after short walks, and a pressure-like heaviness in her chest. At the hospital, doctors discovered she was retaining excess fluid, partly because watermelon contributed a high water load that her body, especially her heart, struggled to manage efficiently. And with its high potassium content, watermelon added another layer of strain to kidneys already working at reduced capacity. This combination, rapid sugar absorption, fluid overload, and elevated potassium, is something I see often in older adults. It's not that watermelon is dangerous for everyone. It's that the aging body handles these components very differently, but there are safer ways to stay hydrated and satisfied. Cucumber slices in water give you the cooling effect without the sugar surge. Frozen berries offer sweetness with far better blood sugar control. And if you truly love watermelon, limit yourself to 1/2 cup at a time. Pair it with a protein source like nuts or cheese, and avoid eating it late in the day when fluid retention naturally increases. Now, if a hydrating fruit can push kidneys and the heart to their limits, and imagine what happens when a fruit actually interferes with the medications that keep those organs stable. Fruit number 6, papaya. Papaya is often praised as a gentle digestive aid, soft, sweet, and rich in natural enzymes. But for seniors, especially those on multiple medications, papaya can behave very differently than expected. In fact, it's one of the fruits I caution older adults about the most because of 3 overlapping issues: medication interference, latex-linked allergic reactions, and unexpected digestive irritation. The enzyme at the center of all this is papain. It's powerful, so powerful in fact, that it's used in some meat tenderizers. Papain breaks down protein quickly, which can be helpful for some people, but for seniors on blood thinners or diabetes medications, it becomes unpredictable. The FDA notes that papain can enhance the effects of blood thinners, making them stronger than intended. For seniors on medications like warfarin, that means a higher risk of bruising, prolonged bleeding, or unstable INR values. Papaya can also alter the absorption of diabetes medications, which I've seen lead to erratic blood sugar patterns, especially when eaten on an empty stomach. One of my patients, Helen, a 71-year-old from San Diego, added papaya to her daily routine to help with bloating. Within weeks, her blood pressure medication stopped working as reliably, and her blood sugar readings became inconsistent for reasons she couldn't explain. When we reviewed her diet and paused the papaya, her numbers steadied noticeably within days. Then there's the latex connection. About 35% of people with latex sensitivities react to papaya because the proteins are so similar. These reactions can start with something as small as mouth itching or stomach discomfort, but can escalate into swelling or trouble breathing, especially in adults whose immune systems have become more reactive with age. And despite its reputation as a soothing fruit, papaya can irritate the stomach lining of seniors with reflux or sensitive digestion, leading to bloating or burning instead of relief. Safer choices: plain yogurt, fermented vegetables, and ginger tea support digestive health without affecting medications. And if you do try papaya, start with just 2 to 3 small pieces, never on an empty stomach, and always check for medication conflicts. And if a gentle fruit like papaya can disrupt your medications, what happens when a popular everyday fruit pushes potassium to dangerous levels? Fruit number 7, bananas. Bananas are one of the most common fruits in the world, simple, familiar, and comforting. Many seniors reach for them because they're soft, easy to digest, and rich in potassium. And while that potassium is valuable for muscle and nerve function, it can become a hidden risk as kidney function naturally declines with age. Here's the part most people never hear. Your kidneys are responsible for clearing excess potassium from the bloodstream. But after 60, kidney filtration slows, even in adults who feel perfectly healthy. Research from the American Journal of Kidney Diseases shows that nearly 40% of seniors have reduced kidney function without any noticeable symptoms. When potassium starts building up, the body sends subtle warnings: muscle heaviness, unusual fatigue, tingling sensations, or a momentary flutter in the chest that feels off. This buildup is called hyperkalemia, and it becomes particularly dangerous because it can disrupt the electrical rhythm of the heart. In severe cases, it can trigger arrhythmias, irregular heartbeats that can escalate quickly. One of my patients, James, a 74-year-old from Texas, had eaten 2 bananas every morning for years, believing they were the perfect way to start his day. One morning, he felt lightheaded, weak, and noticed his heartbeat racing unpredictably. At the hospital, his potassium levels were far above normal. His kidneys simply couldn't clear the excess efficiently anymore. When he reduced his intake to half a banana and balanced his meals differently, his energy and heart rhythm stabilized within days. Bananas also contain fast-absorbing carbohydrates that can cause rapid blood sugar rises, especially on an empty stomach. If for seniors managing diabetes or pre-diabetes, that sudden spike can create the familiar crash that comes an hour later: fatigue, fogginess, or irritability. The safer alternatives: strawberries, blueberries, and raspberries are low in potassium and provide far more antioxidant support. If you enjoy the texture of bananas, baked sweet potato offers gentle, steady energy without overwhelming your kidneys. And now that we've walked through all 7 fruits, let's shift to something even more important: how to choose safer fruits, how to combine them, and how to build a daily routine that supports stable blood sugar, steady energy, and easier digestion. Now that we've walked through the 7 fruits most likely to cause hidden strain after 60, let's shift into what truly empowers you: how to choose fruit wisely, safely, and confidently without giving up flavor, sweetness, or enjoyment. Because the goal isn't restriction, it's alignment. Alignment with the way your body works today, not the way it worked decades ago. The first principle is something I teach almost every senior I work with: slow sugar, steady energy. Choose fruits that release their sugars gradually: berries, apples, pears, and kiwis. Their fiber content slows absorption, helping you avoid the spikes and crashes that make afternoons sluggish and mornings unstable. Second, protect your kidneys. If you've ever noticed swelling in your legs, unusual fatigue, or changes in urination, your kidneys may be asking for gentler choices. Low potassium fruits like berries and apples place far less burden on filtration. If you're eating higher potassium foods, space them out and keep portions small. And remember, your kidneys don't shout, they whisper. Listening early matters. Third, Pair your fruit. Never eat fruit alone on an empty stomach. A small handful of nuts, a slice of cheese, or a serving of Greek yogurt slows digestion and keeps blood sugar steadier. Many seniors tell me the single change transformed their daily energy. Fourth, time your fruit. Late-night fruit can worsen reflux, fluid retention, and blood sugar instability. Morning or midday is best, when digestion is stronger and your body has more time to process sugar, water, and potassium. Fifth, respect your medications. If you're taking blood thinners, blood pressure medications, thyroid support, or diabetes medications, review fruit interactions with your healthcare provider. This isn't overcaution. This is partnership with your body. And finally, give yourself permission to notice how you feel. Your body gives feedback, soft signals, a slight heaviness, a restless night, a shift in clarity. Those signals are wisdom. Next, let's bring everything together, your independence, your health, and the small choices that protect them both. When we talk about fruit, we're really talking about something deeper than food. We're talking about how the body changes with time and how you can stay in step with those changes so your energy, clarity, and independence remain yours to keep. You've now seen how 7 seemingly harmless fruits can quietly create challenges after 60. Sugar swings, reflux, medication interference, potassium overload, kidney strain. Not because your body is failing you, but because it's asking for a different rhythm than it once needed. And here's the truth. I wish every senior knew. Small adjustments make a larger difference now than ever before. Switching grapes for berries, citrus for bell peppers, watermelon for cucumbers. These aren't restrictions. They're refinements. Refinements that support steadier mornings, calmer digestion, clearer thinking, and a more dependable heartbeat. One of my favorite reminders for the patients I've worked with over the years is this. Your body still wants to heal. It simply needs the right conditions. Fruit is part of that equation. When you choose fruits that match your current physiology, your body responds quickly, often within days. Better energy, fewer sugar crashes, less bloating, more predictable medication results. A sense that your body is working with you, not against you. So, as you move forward, consider this simple question. Which fruit changes will help you feel more like yourself again? There's no pressure, just possibility. And if any of the 7 fruits surprised you today, you're not alone. Many of the seniors I've worked with spent years wondering why certain symptoms came and went without explanation. Understanding the why is the first step toward feeling better. If you'd like, share below which fruit you're reconsidering, or which swap you're excited to try. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if this resonated with you, you won't want to miss the next episode. We'll be looking at the 5 fruits that support heart health, balance blood sugar, and actually become more beneficial as you age. Take good care of yourself. Your future self will thank you for the choices you make today.